All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Our first order of business was to approve a hire, and we're going back to the drawing board. The candidate withdrew its acceptance. So, next order of business is organization of board officers. May I please have a motion for officers?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education elect the following members as officers for 2026. Sarah Bellinger, President. David Indish, Vice President. Chris Lewis, Treasurer. Deborah Wolf, Secretary.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
So first Chris, second Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that, so, couple things before I relinquish my seat. For our new president, Sarah, and Secretary Deb, after the meeting, please see Betsy because you'll have to do a signature for our diplomas, okay? And for the rest of you, it's gonna take us a minute because we're swapping seats. Oh, man. Blanket? Oh, I should have done that. That would have been good.
Now you have a warm coat. You can just-
Yeah. I'm not gonna be cold. This would be,
So thank you, everyone. Do you need your back?
no, I can
Okay.
wait. I can wait.
And special thanks to Nancy for her distinguished leadership. These, 6 years maybe? I don't even know how many.
Long time.
Yeah, but your leadership has been immensely supportive to not only this board, I'll speak for Adam, as well as this community, and we truly thank you for your commitment, unwavering commitment to this district. And I know that you have been a great mentor to this board, and especially to me, and I have big shoes to fill, so thank you all so much. And with that, we will continue with more of our organizational meeting. Can I get a motion for identification of official signatures?
Are you skipping two? Number two.
Oh,
Committees.
I'm sorry. Appointment of board committees by the presidents. I will reach out to all of you within the next couple weeks to have conversations about committees and special appointments. So keep a lookout for that phone call. Now I will take a motion for identification of official signatures.
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education authorize Adam Spina, Sarah Tynan, and Chris Lewis as board treasurer as the official signatures with all banks of deposit for 2026.
Second. Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Can I get a motion for Board of Education for pay for services?
I move that the compensation for the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education members for 2026 remain at $0.00 per meeting.
Second.
Motion by Deb, second by Chris. Any discussion? I just want to say that historically, this board has been at zero. There are other boards surrounding communities that do pay their board members, not only for regular board meetings, but also subcommittees. But we have always said that this is a non-paying position. We understand that going into this role. We could change that at any point in time, but I respect our decision by leaving it at zero. So, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I get a motion for appointment of Open Meetings Act designee?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education appoint the superintendent of schools as the Open Meetings Act designee.
Second?
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you all very much. This next part is citizen comments. If we have any citizens that would like to address the board, you can come up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. This first item is for agenda items only. There will be a separate time at the end of the meeting for anything that you would like to discuss. Is there any citizens that would like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to celebration. Oh, do we? Sorry.
No, no. You have a spot on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, sometimes it's hard to see. You can't tell, but that podium really takes up a lot of
It
space.
does.
Okay, celebrations, Adam.
All right, well, welcome, board members, to our first meeting of 2026. Happy New Year, and congratulations. And I'm looking forward to another great year. To kind of start the year off, the administrative team has a small gift for board members to recognize your selfless service and support to the district. So, small token, it's a stadium blanket, but for those early season baseball games that we'll all be attending. See what I did there? It'll help keep you warm. So, but seriously, it's been a privilege to work in this district well over 2 decades, and to continue on in this position. And a big part of that is the support and collaboration that we get from our Board of Education that I felt when I was a teacher here and continue to feel through various roles, including that of superintendent. So. Thank all of you for everything that you do, the time you give, and how you always put our students first, which is why we're all here to start with. Moving forward in the celebrations. 2 stories that have been posted to the website since our last meeting. The first is a summary or roll-up of different ways that Williamston interacted with the community or hosted events in support of the holiday season. So a photo montage of sorts up there with different pictures and examples of the various ways, certainly not all of the ways, that we interacted with the community, whether they were attending community events, musical concerts, community service initiatives, but a lot of great work by a lot of members of our team in collaboration with our community, and obviously getting the students first and foremost out into the forefront to be visible and show that we're reciprocating the support that the community gives us through our interactions during the holiday season. The next story that was posted is just a recap of the fall sports season that Mr. Paulson briefed the board on back in December. So took some of the different photos and awards that our students earned as teams and highlighted those on the website. So some pictures of the teams with their various championships that they earned during the fall season, which, as we know, was extremely successful across the board, including, I think, winning 4 out of 8 conference titles in the CAAC Red, and even the teams that didn't win a title in some cases went on to qualify for states in the playoffs. So an excellent fall season, to say the least, and we have that documented on the website. A few celebrations that aren't posted as website stories, at least not yet. The first is over winter break. It was kind of a slow winter break as far as facility projects. There just weren't a lot of actual work days on the calendar the way it fell this year, but we still were able to get some things done as far as taking advantage of some of that time that students and our instructional staff were gone. Actually, a number of those projects took place here at the middle school. So no one will ever notice it, but a significant upgrade or repair was to the electrical panel that's behind the stage out here, behind the cafeteria. That work was completed over the break. You might have noticed as you came in today, the infamous door 8, which has had a whole host of different problems over the years, that was completely replaced. It's not 100% done. You might have noticed some rough edges around it as you came in, but that'll get finished up because no contracted job ever gets done completely correct the first time, as I've learned over time. But that will be a nice improvement. The cool thing with that is it's got built-in safety glass, or the safety film, that's shatter resistant, so we didn't go and have to put the extra film on it like we've done with a lot of our windows. It came built into the door and the surrounding windows.
We started our initiative to repair or replace the partitions, the restrooms at the high school, much as we have completed over the last couple of years here at the high school. So the very first one was at the boys' locker room in the PE class wing near the auxiliary gym, and that was completed over break, and we hope to replicate that several more times over the summer at the high school. And then lastly, as you might recall, we actually had to shut the power down and district internet for a day so that we could run the electrical infrastructure out to the softball complex out back. That all went as planned, and so they now have power inside the building as they continue to work on doing the interior of that space over the next couple of months. Lastly, or I guess two more quick things. Last week, last Thursday, was the Civics Fair at the high school. I just bring this up because it's one of my favorite events of the year. So I just wanted to make sure I highlight it. It was a great opportunity for students to delve into real issues in the community, do research, and then present their findings and recommendations to over 100 different community members who showed up from all different backgrounds, business owners, parents, local government, et cetera. And just did a phenomenal job. I said the only thing I really don't like about the project is that I can only get around to hear so many of the presentations. And so that's, but I mean, that's the way it goes. Changed the format this year, which I thought was good in terms of at least the interactions with the students with our district administrators and school board members, where they actually provided a couple days where we could go into the high school cafeteria, or sorry, the library, and then sit down and have more in-depth conversations with some of the groups, which I thought was really good. Enjoyed talking with the kids about some of the things they're seeing and some of their ideas, and also kind of, you know, when the opportunity presented itself to give them some background in terms of what we're doing to try to address some of the things that they highlighted. So just a great job by Mrs. O'Rourke and Ms. Richards at the high school. I think it's the 3rd or 4th year they've done this, and it just continues to get better every year. And then lastly, this Friday will mark the halfway point of the school year, so kind of hard to believe we've gotten to that, but had a great first semester, and really looking forward to all the things that will be achieved here through the end of the school year in June. Those are our celebrations for this evening, pending any questions you might have.
Any questions? I went to the Civics Fair also, and yes, I do wish that we could have more time, or it could be more days where we could go, because like you said, there's so many that you want to get to, and you want to hear everybody. You can only fit, well, me, only like 3 or 4, I don't, you know. But it is really impressive that so many community members come out to hear our students, and I always enjoy going to those every year. I know logistically you can't, like that's the, you know, how it's set up, it's meant to be that way, but I do wish that I could see more and hear more.
Yeah, I'm sure the kids would not want to have it
Yeah,
more
right.
days, but
Yeah,
they did a great
1
job
hour
while they
is
were
good.
there. Yeah.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, thank you, Adam. Dr. Cook is up for our educational update.
Thank you. All right, well, good evening. Tonight, I'll be sharing our 2025 assessment data. This presentation will look a bit different from years past, as it was going to focus on 2 grade levels to allow for a deeper dive into the why and the what behind how we support students and who may be not proficient or meet their individual growth goals, and how we support them in the fact that we hope that they do next time. Do you have the clicker? Do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it? Okay, I'll just go ahead and tell you then to go ahead. So here's our agenda, and it looks mighty, but it will go faster. So we have the M-STEP ELA trends, the M-STEP ELA county comparison, the NWEA growth trends, student achievement gap analysis for 4th grade, M-STEP math trends, M-STEP math county comparison, NWEA math trends, student achievement gap analysis for 7th grade math, middle school overall math support for individual growth, and then of course any questions or comments that you might have at the end. So we're going to start out, and go to the next slide, M-STEP ELA trends. So this slide shows our M-STEP ELA trends over time. You'll notice that several areas do show declines from last year, specifically drops of 5 to 9% in some subjects. But the school teams are engaging in deeper analysis to understand the underlying factors and are actively working to support teachers and students in improving the outcomes. At the same time, there are areas where we're seeing improvement. For instance, we see increases of 2.8% and 5.1% among certain cohorts, indicating that targeted interventions in those areas are having a positive impact. The PSAT composite score remains relatively stable, shifting only slightly from 88.8 to 87.1%. While that's a small decrease, it tells us that overall performance is holding steady and that we need to maintain focus to prevent further declines. And overall, this data gives us a clear picture of where our efforts are working and where additional support may be needed. Our next steps will focus on analyzing the root cause behind these changes, adjusting instruction and supports accordingly, and continuing to monitor cohort-level trends to ensure growth across all groups. Next slide. Thank you. This slide shows the county rankings for grades 3 through 7, as well as the PSAT 8-9. Williamston consistently performs near the top of Ingham County. We place second in 4 out of 6 areas, 5th, 6th, 7th, and PSAT 8-9. In 3rd grade, Williamston placed 4th, remaining competitive with a very strong group of districts. This year, Williamston did not place in the county rankings for 4th grade ELA. While this highlights an area for growth, it is also providing us actionable insight into where targeted support is needed. Our instructional team is actively reviewing performance trends and implementing focused strategies to strengthen literacy outcomes. The following slides will highlight this grade level in a greater detail and outline the specific supports and interventions being put in place to help close the achievement gap and improve student performance moving forward. Next slide. This slide highlights multi-year reading performance trends by grade level from 2020-2021 through 24-25. Overall, the data shows encouraging growth in several grade levels, particularly in 2nd and 5th grade, which demonstrates steady upward trends and notable gains in the most recent years. Grade 3 shows some fluctuation, but remains above baseline levels. Grade 4 reading performance, while showing improvement over time, did decline slightly in 24-25, following gains in the prior 2 years. This trend helps explain why 4th grade did not place in the county rankings this year and reinforces the need for targeted instructional support at this level. The data provides valuable insight into where focused intervention is needed. Our instructional team is already using this data to guide grade level supports, strengthen core literacy instruction, and implement targeted strategies to improve outcomes within our 4th grade student body. Next slide, thank you. As noted in the previous slide, 4th grade ELA proficiency was lower than it was last year. To better understand the why, the team conducted a deeper analysis of students who were not proficient on the M-STEP and those who did not meet individual NWEA growth goals in order to individualize interventions and support student progress. There were 69 students in 4th grade who were partially proficient or not proficient on M-STEP. Of those 69 students, 32 met their NWEA growth goal for ELA, which left 37 students not proficient on M-STEP and did not meet their growth goal. 1 student left the district, which now has 36 students out of 142 students. Total 4th grade for non-proficient on the M-STEP and didn't meet their growth goal in NWEA. The next slide shows the analysis that was done to look at factors and the interventions that are addressing the needs of these 36 students. On the next slide, columns with acronyms, I'm sorry, Thank you. On the next slide, there are columns with acronyms that are used to show what might be impacting students. Some that might not be familiar to you are the ART, and that is Academic Response Team, and that is where students are identified as early as possible, needing support and more intensive monitoring before they even go into the next SAT, Student Assistant Team. After ART, this team meets to determine tier interventions. Then we also have students that fall into ELL, English Language Learners, or have IEPs, Individual Education Plans. Next slide, thank you. An X in those columns indicates specific areas influencing student outcomes. To address these needs, MTSS structures and targeted instructional supports are being implemented. Teachers provide frequent progress monitoring through check-ins and on-task reminders during independent work. Classroom supports include strategies that use approximate preferential seating near the point of instruction and access to alternative testing environments with read-aloud accommodations included. Instruction is further strengthened through modified assignments such as writing frames, vocabulary supports, and access to teacher-provided notes. Next slide. Similarly, this data highlights areas of influence, with one student being absent last year 21% of the school year. In addition to the tiered intervention the students are receiving, targeted supports are being implemented, including intentional partnering, frequent check-ins for understanding, and monitoring task focus. For students requiring more direct assistance, modifications like seating at the point of instruction and utilizing alternative working locations are being used to support their academic growth. Next slide. To support diverse learning needs, several students are receiving environmental accommodations, such as seating away from distractions or utilizing alternative testing locations. Frequent instructional and understanding check-ins are a primary focus, often paired with monitoring work completion and intentional partnering to maintain student engagement. For students with more intense needs, additional supports include reduced workload, audio text, spelling tools, and having assessments and assignments read aloud. Next slide. This is going into our math. The M-STEP data.
Can I just pause for a second?
Sure.
So I just want to kind of recap what we tried to do there. I'll spare you my dissertation on M-STEP because I know you've heard it several times.
Thank you so much.
But one of the things with M-STEP that is always left out is, you know, let's say you did really well and 65% of your students were proficient, right? So, well, that still means that 35% of your students can't read? Like, what does that mean? So that part of the data never gets explained, and it's kind of, it's frustrating because there's a lot more going on that, and it just never gets out into the open in terms of what's taking place to support those other 35 students and what's going on with those students that the district or their teachers and the school are trying to influence. So this was a bit of an experiment this year. So what we wanted to do was take a grade level and a subject, actually we did it twice, once for math, once for ELA, as you just heard, and we tried to dig down into a way that was a summary of some of the work that's being done to support students that, as Dr. Cook explained, one, weren't proficient on M-STEP, but then also didn't meet their individual growth targets according to NWA, which is actually the one I care more about, because we can't help where students are coming in at, but our job is to maximize where they get to. So we set those ambitious learning targets for the students at the beginning of the year, and because NWA is done 3 times, we can actually respond to the data, change the intensity of their intervention and the type of instruction that's happening to support them in real time. Whereas M-STEP, you get one piece of data and the kids have already moved on to the next grade level, and it's like, you know, we don't even get to see what the questions were. So NWA is a much more valid measure for a lot of reasons. So students that didn't meet their growth target, those are the ones that we're most concerned about. And so then we look and see, where are any of those kids slipping through the cracks? And so we can go in and do this deeper dive and look at all the different types of academic support services through our multi-tiered systems of support MTSS model that we're providing. And so you saw a summary from Dr. Cook in terms of fourth grade last year, which, as she noted, way underachieved from the norm for us in terms of like raw and step proficiency data, and what was going on. And that gives us some specific clues into where our intervention's working properly, what types of other factors might have been influencing student learning, and I think helps present a more complete picture of the education that those students are receiving. So it's a bit of an experiment this year. We wanted to kind of pilot this. So if you think about it more later, please feel free to give me a call and we can talk through more. But it's just something that I wanted to make sure we don't say, well, 55% of the kids were proficient and then just go to the next slide. Well, what about the other 45%? What's happening with them? So an experiment, open to feedback. We're trying something new. We do this data work all the time, but we don't do a good job of showing it. And and we can't do that because we'd be here for hours, but Dr. Cook did a nice job of trying to succinctly summarize some of the hard work that's going on in the classroom and in our intervention model. So, sorry.
No, that's okay, thank you. So now we're gonna go into math and go the same route. So on this slide, the M-STEP data reveals strong bright spots in our middle school and upper elementary tiers, providing a clear roadmap for targeted support across all the grade levels. Standout performance was in 7th grade. Students achieved a significant 5.9 point increase in proficiency, bringing the total to 61.3%, and it maintained a strong long-term upward trend. We had continued growth in 4th grade. We saw a positive upward shift to 58.9 proficiency from 56.9, reflecting the success of recent instructional focus in the elementary grades. And math was a focus last year for our elementary students, especially at Explore. Maintaining solid foundations, despite minor year-to-year fluctuations, our 5th, 6th, and 8th grade levels continue to demonstrate stability, with over 50 to 55% of students consistently meeting or exceeding proficiency benchmarks. And then we had targeted opportunities for excellence. While 3rd grade scores highlight an area for renewed focus, this data allows us to deploy specific MTSS interventions and resources to ensure these students have the support they need to rebound quickly. Next slide. Here's our math county comparison. Williamston consistently ranks as a top performer in the county, securing 1st place in 5th and 7th grades with proficiency scores of 55.9 and 61.3 respectively. The district also earns 2nd place in 4th and 6th grade and 3rd place for the PSAT 8-9, maintaining a competitive presence across almost all levels. While 3rd grade placed 4th in the county, the overall data reflects a strong standing within our county. Next slide, please. Across all middle school grade levels, there's a strong upward trend in the percentage of students meeting their individual growth goals in math. The 7th grade cohort consistently leads with the highest growth rates, reaching a peak of 73% in the 24-25 school year. Significant gains are also evident in 6th and 8th grade, which have both seen substantial improvements from their 2020 to 2021 baseline, finishing the most recent year at 69 and 68% respectively. Overall, this data reflects a consistent multi-year trajectory of academic progress and successful intervention strategies in mathematics. Next slide. Similarly to the analysis conducted for 4th grade, 7th grade proficiency data showed that 65 students were partially or not proficient on the M-STEP. To better understand the why, the team took a deeper dive into this group, including the 20 of 65 students who also did not meet their individual NWEA growth goals. This consistent approach across all grade levels allows the team to intentionally individualize interventions and supports to promote student growth. To address these proficiency gaps, the middle school is utilizing a multi-tiered approach that includes math lab recommendations, before, after-school support, NHA student tutoring. Additionally, some students are being monitored for future interventions like second semester math lab based on upcoming winter scores. Academic supports also extend to specialized environments like accelerated math classes and lunch support to ensure varied needs are all met. Next slide. Additional supports are monitor individual areas of support and progress continually, implement strategies to support growth, Tier 1 instruction and AOT, morning tutoring, which is a Tier 2, NHS students, and now teachers, starting in January, are starting to do morning tutoring as well. Teachers are participating in PLCs to implement quality instruction and learn that instruction, and develop and utilize more active engagement strategies across content areas.
So, can I just ask a question about this chart? So is each one of these a student?
Yes, I took the names off.
No, yeah, I appreciate, I mean, I just want to make sure, like,
Yes.
pointing that out. These are each individual students
Yes.
that you went through and then came up with, this is what we're doing as a team.
Yes, and the numbers correlate to the numbers that I read to you, or is on the
Mhm.
slide before this. It's just that this started with 3.
Yeah.
So it looks like there's more students, but there isn't. Yeah, and this is the same type of chart as what you saw
So
for
the other
fourth
one, they're
grade.
each individual
Yes,
kids to go
yes.
through each one.
Yes, and it shows, and I was going to share that too for ELA. It has the 24, 25, and this year's interventions, which
So it shows
that
both.
we're continuing or we're doing different depending on the needs that.
Of that kid.
Yeah, and that was it. The next slide just says questions or comments. So does anybody have any other questions or thoughts that you want to share?
I just wondered on the couple slides back, it didn't show any place for 5th grade. Did they not even score in the top 5?
Oh, it should have. Which slide did you not see 5th grade?
For math or English?
Math,
In math?
I thought it was right at the bottom and, yeah, right there. What, where did 5th grade place?
First.
Yeah, they're first. They're in the middle.
Oh, okay,
Right at the
I
top.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I was reading the chart
Yeah.
wrong. I read it right the first time and then I read it wrong. Okay, thanks.
Good, thank you. I thought
That's-
maybe I could miss it. Let me
That
tell
was
you,
much
that was.
better news.
That's a lot of numbers.
Thank you.
Any,
I do want to say, if it's okay, I always have something to say. I appreciate how you show us that, you know, what each kid is getting, that we're not just, as Adam said, you know, whatever, 60% are proficient, what do we do with the others? And how you're taking a really deep dive and looking at each individual kid. I really appreciate that, and giving our kids exactly what they need. I also want to say, for someone who used to give, some of these students, if they're special ed, get special accommodations, and I do remember the first time having to read, one of the accommodations for the student was to read the test to them. And these tests are like under lock and key. It's like such a hidden secret. You would think this was some big gold mine or something. And I do remember opening up the test book and reading the first question and did not know the answer. And read second question and did not know the answer. And I thought, holy cow, I am highly educated. I graduated. I paid good money for my degree, and they gave it to me saying I know what I'm doing. I think I got down to the 4th or 5th question, was like, okay, now I'm on a roll, I can answer these. But it is, I think sometimes we just think it's just a test and we're giving it to kids and they need to sit there and focus and do it. But it is a test and it is challenging, and we really need to, whether it's the best way to assess them, I could go on and on about that, but I think we need to give kudos to our kids for being able to sit there and do it and take it seriously and do, because it's taxing. So I do appreciate you going through everything and making sure each individual kid and seeing what they need and what they need to get and how we can support them.
thank you, and we do it with all kids. We just took that sample.
Right.
You know, that Adam had said that he had really wanted to hone in on, but all kids get.
Right.
So I just want to clarify that, Amanda.
Yeah, I love that we have an option for an alternative testing facility or site. Did that get carried over to our new design plans for Explorer?
I do not know if there's separate rooms or.
Well, so we're expanding the number of spaces, so that will help with facilitating alternative everything, including places to take an assessment. So as you, I'm sure you're aware, we are literally out of space at the elementary campus. I mean, there's not a closet that doesn't have something going on in there. So the expansion's gonna make a big difference in a lot of ways, including that.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you ever have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Cook.
Thanks.
If you do have questions, reach out to Dr. Cook.
I will also say, I just want to give some credit. I know in one case, the results aren't what we're used to. I will say our new principal has done a really nice job of nerding out, as she would call it, or has called it, on really getting into the data in terms of how students performed, and has already really gotten into the weeds in terms of working with staff and really analyzing what we can do to improve. So that's a really positive sign. So I just wanted to pass it along. And I think, as I mentioned previously, our data-days that we do both at the building level in terms of the depth of the analysis taking place, and then as that goes up to the district level for the 2 district data-days that we have throughout the year, just extremely impressive this year. Again, we don't really do a great job of broadcasting that. Of all the things we do, right, we probably talk about this the least, because we're talking about, you know, this team won that and this group did this, but like the actual grinding work every day of educating kids. There's just some really fantastic stuff going on at each of the buildings, and just want to make sure I highlight that whenever possible.
Yeah, we've never been a district that is a copy and paste for every kid, and this is just one more example of how every child is different, and we teach them differently, and we have different plans for every student. Thank you, Dr. Cook.
Evan, do the students get any kind of recognition for achieving their individual goals?
Well, typically that would be something that might be celebrated at the classroom level, especially at the elementary. But yeah, that's a good question in terms of like what kind of tangible recognition. I mean, that's always been a hypothesis of mine. If we did a better job of incentivizing state assessments, would we see an increase in scores? I mean, just think about ourselves as an adult. Like, are we going to sit through a 2-hour exam if there's nothing in it for us? I mean, we do it because there's something there that we're trying to earn or achieve, right? And with the state standardized test, there's really nothing. So I think that's one significant piece, as I brought up in the past. Funny thing is, I do hear kids often talking about their progress on WEA. I mean, I remember once sitting down at a lunch table with a bunch of 4th grade boys thinking they were talking about like soccer or football or something. They were talking about how like their reading fluency score was up 6 points from the last time they did it. I'm like, oh wow, well, this is interesting. So I know the kids, especially at the elementary level, are aware, and it is something that gets brought up with parents and parent-teacher conferences, and so. So I don't know if it's standardized, but it is, I think, integrated into the culture. That's something that is important.
Luckily, my 5th grader thinks that gum is the incentivized part.
We got an email to bring gum and candy for
And
NWA
yeah.
this week. Yeah, so
Yeah.
at our house.
We went
so.
shopping today because she has it tomorrow. So yes, that's her.
Anything that helps.
Uses. All right, superintendent's report, Adam.
All right, upcoming presentation items on the 2nd of February. Will be the next regular board meeting, and Dr. Cook will give an update on the state school scorecard summaries. If you recall, that's kind of like the roundup that state provides for each individual school, and we obviously look at that closely to see how we fare against other districts, like districts of the state and other districts in the surrounding counties. And then once the policy committee is established, we do have an agenda ready for that meeting. So if you end up being on policy, look for a meeting survey in the near future to meet. As far as bond updates, just a couple quick things for this evening. Traffic study that was conducted around Explorer Elementary, looking at the intersections, came back very positive as expected, but the new traffic pattern at the elementary that'll be established with the construction project is good to go, and what we have in place there will more than adequately support the volume that it's designed to do. And then one change we made, and you'll see it in the next email I send out to the community, but the soccer fields at the New Explorer, we actually turned them so that when the ball is kicked on the easternmost goal, it didn't end up in the drainage basin. So the fields were rotated sideways so that won't occur. So otherwise, those are bond updates and superintendent's report unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Okay, board committee reports. ISOA met in December, and we had Shelley Rue, who is the Director of Student Instructional Services within the ISD, come and speak to us. We talked a little bit about what each district is doing for the cell phone policy, but also more in depth, I should say, about what the ISD is doing. They're leading a book study about the anxious generation. So this big book that came out a few years ago. I know our administrators read it a few years back and had discussions around that and had implementation within their buildings based on some things that came out from that book. She talked about that it's a book study within the ISD with educators, and how they're really doing a deep dive and having really big conversations, in-depth conversations, detailed conversations that she feels like she has, like time is done and she has to cut people off because the conversation is going so much. So we talked about how those discussions have been so rich. Could we open it up to maybe like a parent portion? And so they're kind of looking into that and what that might encompass or what that might look like moving forward and having those discussions. If you haven't read The Anxious Generation, I stole Adam's copy and it's taken me a little bit to get through it, but you can always borrow it. They have, I looked at the library, they might have it too. So reach out if you're interested in reading that. I know a lot of big things came from that, and there's a lot of big discussions at ISD level around that. So the slides are attached to board book. If you want to reach out to Shelley, she'd be more than happy to have conversations with you more about that. Jennifer Winnell, who is the superintendent from Dansville, came and she talked about superintendent's roundtable and what that discussion is looking like. And district updates mostly were around each district talking about the 31AA resolution that was happening right before break. Any questions?
I don't have questions, but this Jonathan, who
Yes.
wrote the Anxious Generation, has a new book out with another psychologist, Catherine Price or something. It's called The Amazing Generation. It's more geared towards kids. It's a little quicker read. I would suggest, the Anxious Generation has been out quite a while. The Amazing Generation just came out a couple months ago. I would suggest that, especially if you have high schoolers, middle schoolers, it's also a good read, kind of more geared towards
Yeah.
them.
And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. Like you can catch a lot of his presentations, because he goes around and gives presentations all over the world based on his books that he has read. So
Yeah.
feel free to check that out. Any other questions? All right, Dave with policy.
We met on December 15th, pretty standard meeting in terms of policies. The one I will call out is the textbook adoption and instructional resources, which is kind of bounced back and forth between the main committee and policy. We ended up adding a section there pointing out that individual teachers have the right to bring any curriculum to the board for consideration, even if they don't have administrator approval, which I think is a pretty good compromise and hopefully gets us one across the finish line. In addition, we spent quite a bit of time.
That was very timely done.
Thank you.
I know. Laugh, cough, I get it. Get it
Spent-
through the finish line. I heard a Nancy Deal at the end of that. Yeah, there we
Real
go.
real coughs. We spent quite a bit of time discussing AI and dual enrollment. We had Dr. Delp and James Doynan join us. For AI, we looked at both student and teacher usage. The student usage, we discussed how our Securely tool can monitor those. And this is something that is currently covered in the school handbook. As far as utilizing AI for resource development and assessment, that's something that we're still in the very early stages of, so stay tuned for more on that. For dual enrollment, we discussed quite a bit. The big thing that came out of that was that we are looking at, or we have decided not to count the Ferris State classes towards the 10 credit cap, but we'll be looking at some additional changes in the future. Anything you'd like to add, Adam?
No, that change that was mentioned with the concurrent enrollment, not counting against the dual enrollment cap, that'll be put into the revised policy on dual enrollment and then brought back to the committee when they meet this month or next. So the board will be seeing that soon.
That's it.
Any questions for Dave? Okay, thank you. All right, baseball. Fun, exciting baseball.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I'm Marion Palmer. I'm president of the Williamston Baseball Boosters currently. We're here to propose a community-driven project to roof our batting cage, a project designed to enhance athlete safety, protect district assets, and maximize training efficiency for our student athletes. Joining me here is head coach Ryan Orr.
Thanks for having us.
Slide 2, please. Thank you. Our commitment to the district is simple: a turnkey solution delivered at zero upfront cost. This project is 100% booster funded and backed by significant local business donations. Our objectives are clear. We want to minimize safety risks, guarantee usability regardless of the Michigan weather, and provide high-efficiency lighting so all 3 of our teams can train safely. Next slide, please.
All right, so this was actually something that we started discussing 2-3 years ago. The boosters always come to me and ask kind of, what do we need? What can we do to advance our program forward? And this was the #1 thing on our list. Not only the ability to practice, when weather hits in Michigan, but also the ability to extend our practice windows. Right now, I believe we're the only high school program in Williamston that has consistently 3 teams, but only 1 real facility, because baseball is just not the same in the gym. There's significant limitations, and so if we're able to get out and utilize our facility outside more, the biggest thing in here too is also the safety risk that playing baseball in a gym does impose. It's high velocity, it's poor lighting, things that unfortunately can cause some serious issues. We did have an incident last year where a player was hit in the head, and then not only that, but also just transporting equipment when we are consistently outside to go from our outdoor facility to then it rains one day and the forecast changes or whatever, and we're then going back to the gym. Heavy equipment that makes for awkward trips and just wasted time for everybody. And on top of that, we also want to protect the investment that we've made to our facility. We've got a new turf hitting mat down in our cage that you may have seen over the last couple of years. So just protecting that, and then also the netting of the cage itself is big.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so is this, from looking at your pictures, this, I'm gonna go to this last one.
Yeah.
So is this all netting here? Or I get we're gonna add, oh, that's better, thank you. So so when you're talking about moving equipment back and forth, would
Yep.
you leave equipment in there and would it not get rained on?
Nope. So I'm talking about our pitching machines, baseballs,
Oh,
different
okay.
bats. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I was actually just moving our pitching machine from our outdoor facility inside just earlier today, and I'm not as young as I once was, but it's annoying.
Right,
It's very,
okay.
very heavy equipment. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Good
what I'm
question.
checking.
Yeah.
And there are no bleachers behind this. This isn't obstructing
Correct.
anybody's view, if I'm
Nope.
remembering correctly.
Correct, yep,
No.
that's correct.
And you met with our facilities director and they
Brandon?
told you what you needed,
Brandon, yes.
whatever
Yeah,
that
we got
looks
the
like,
approval from
all
them.
of that?
Yep.
Mhm.
I don't know anything about a batting cage really, so I can't, or pitching thing or whatever this his, so I can't ask about that.
That's all right.
So go back.
Yeah.
So, one more.
Yep.
Yep, perfect. So, on top of Michigan weather that we all know and love, the rain is one aspect, and yeah, maybe we're talking about 10 to 15 days, which that alone to me makes a significant, makes this worthwhile. But the other part of this is, like Marion mentioned, is the lights, because that impacts every single day, every single practice, because as you see, our practice window times, like they've been in the past for us, we're talking significant overlap between one team to another, where freshmen and JV are either trying to share the field, or one gets booted off and they're on, the soccer field, or they're exclusively in the batting cages, where if we have lights in this facility, now we can, practice past 7:30, 8 o'clock when it's, Michigan in April. And so now varsity can truly go to more of a 6 to 8 o'clock, and we don't have to cut our practices short and different things like that. So, yeah, just another huge example why this is important for us.
Okay, so we've looked at the different alternatives, such as having an indoor and drop-down net. However, those require some additional capital, and they don't really solve the visibility or the scheduling conflicts that we currently have. Our outdoor solution is superior because it provides a dedicated, high-visibility training environment that is available right now without diverting any funds from other academic or athletic priorities. We are committed to equity. Title IX considerations have been reviewed and approved by the legal counsel under our proposed usage agreement. We have also consulted with the softball program. Until their priority indoor space is established at Explorer, we will partner with them to ensure they have equitable access to this improved facility.
Will youth sports also be able to use this?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's encouraged, yes, I would love, yeah.
How many can you, the current cage looks like you would have one batter and one machine, right? Would that be the same, or can more people use it?
There are a ton of different ways that we can use the cage. In a normal sense, yes, it's normally like one person is feeding the machine or throwing batting practice, one person hitting. We have the ability to split our cage into two, so we can double that, but then we can also get creative where we can have guys hit on tees, and we can have as many as probably 8 guys in the cage at one time, all just hitting the same direction, if that makes sense. So that way it's not a safety hazard for anybody.
Interesting.
Okay, this is where the power of our community shines. The total donation value exceeds $25,000. This is really made possible by our local partners, like Home Pro Roofing, like SRM Concrete, and our local electrical and construction firms, who are donating significant materials, time, and labor. This public-private partnership allows us to deliver a professional-grade facility that would otherwise be cost-prohibitive for the district. We are building for the long haul. The structure includes 42-inch deep frost-line footings and 6x6 treated support posts with hot-dip galvanized hardware. The lighting is designed specifically for this environment. Shatterproof LED strips mounted with wire guards 2 feet above the netting to ensure player safety and zero maintenance issues. We are following all district protocols for risk mitigation. Every contractor involved is fully licensed and insured, and we are working in strict compliance with the facility manager's requirements. This is a professionally managed construction process designed to integrate seamlessly with the existing athletic complex footprint. We intentionally chose a 3-sided open design over a fully enclosed structure. This open design provides optimal ventilation during the warmer months and actually avoids $10,000 or more in additional costs required for fire egress, coating, and HVAC in an enclosed building. This logic ensures we can complete the project by the 2026 season opener without needing any Williamston Community School funding. So this is a rendition at all sides of what the structure would look like. It's a clean, professional addition to our grounds that reflects the quality of the Williamston athletic program. It fits perfectly within the existing cage footprint while providing a massive upgrade in functionality. The bottom line is zero capital expense for Williamston Community Schools. The $25,000 to $30,000 project cost is 100% covered. Most importantly, the boosters have this money in the bank today. I know there was a question about funding. The boosters have over $35,000 in their bank account earmarked for this project to cover all of the cost. We are ready to fully fund it, and we are handing the district a $50,000 asset with minimal ongoing utility costs. Our plans have been reviewed and supported by the administration and the facilities manager. We have the funds, the partners, and the engineering ready to go. We are seeking formal board approval tonight so we can break ground and have this ready for our student athletes by March of 2026. Thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
How long will it take, like, once this gets approved, can they start in the middle of February, or like in the winter?
I think, so I believe that David Merchant's kind of been one of the other people that's been heading this project. I believe the plan would be to break ground and officially start maybe like a week or two before spring break, and then the project, I believe it's only a couple weeks that it would take to begin to end project. And so the hope, plan and hope is that it's ready to go by the time that we're back from spring break.
Is that in the same location where the batting cage is now? Or
Yep,
across
it's just
the-
covering the current cage. Yep.
Okay.
Nice.
Anything else we can answer?
Do you have plans to recognize the sponsors?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah,
Great job.
Yes.
very generous community.
Adam, what does Brandon say? They're saying that there's no upfront cost, but what does Brandon say about the upkeep of this?
Brandon's supportive. He looked at the plans and approved those last week. The maintenance costs, upkeep are very minimal. I mean, just some basic electric to run the lighting and then just normal upkeep that we'd have for any other part of our district. So no concerns on our end about future maintenance.
And we have guarantees on like the roofing and stuff, like all of that comes with like 25-year guarantee or something, right?
Absolutely, when you're looking at, putting on shingles and then things like that, for sure, yeah. Steel on the siding.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, what is the netting? It's not, I'm assuming it's not just net. Is it like something
As
tougher
far as
than
actual
that?
material,
Yeah, because it would,
Like
it-
nylon
yeah, it's like
netting. It's like a
nylon.
nylon
Oh, it is
coated
net. Yeah.
netting.
It isn't.
Mhm.
and it doesn't rip do you remove that? Like how, I would assume in the winter, if you left it up, that there
Oh,
would be
yeah, we-
holes in it.
Yes.
So
yep,
it's
we
down
remove
low
it, it's
rather
in
than
our,
netting,
yep,
right?
we
Okay.
put it away, yep.
Well, you had me at no cost. You pulled me in right then.
It is a compelling argument.
Yeah, right.
I'd say the boosters have done a really thorough, very professional approach to this throughout the entire process. And, yeah, I mean, we're fully behind it on the admin side. So I appreciate all the work that you've done and the support of the sponsors that looking to get something accomplished like this for our students this spring.
And it's not just for baseball, it's for softball, it's for our youth sports program, it's for everybody.
Right. Mhm. We're really excited.
Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, you're looking for approval tonight. You will not be able to get approval tonight, but this is a good discussion point. Without any reservations, we can put it on for action at our next meeting, and our next meeting, I believe, is what, the second?
February 2nd. Mhm.
So board members, reach out to Adam, talk with Brandon, get your questions answered. I'm sure you're more than happy to answer any questions
Absolutely.
that board members have as
Mhm.
well. Any reservations about putting this on for action at the next meeting?
No.
And you're okay with it?
Oh, yes, yeah, I think this is a great, gonna be a really good one for us and for the students.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you both very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so you do have a couple weeks to get these questions answered, have more discussions, but it sounds very exciting. All right, we have a leave request. Adam, do you want to share?
For reasons that will be outlined to the extent that they can be in the memos that were provided, a leave extension has been requested, and my support memo is also attached.
Okay. If you have any other questions, reach out to, this is a personal issue, so, employee issue, so reach out to Adam with any questions that you have. All right, band instruments and equipment requests. You taking this one? Yes.
Yes. So this one can appear a little bit complicated at first, just because of the way they had to outline it. But it's actually really well thought through, and I'd like to especially thank Lynn Kelsey and Kate Stone for the time they put into this. Who best to identify what the band program needs than our two outstanding band directors. But in giving them this responsibility, it added obviously a significant piece of work to their already busy plates. On the plus side, by not outsourcing this, we saved a significant amount of money, which allows them to take those savings and put that back into adding equipment for their programs. So to kind of summarize this, I guess the easiest way to do it would be that they sought bids from multiple music supply companies for, I guess, two different general areas. One, band instruments, and then secondly, band storage. What they discovered and what they have articulated here in the memo and the supporting documents is that no one vendor was able to provide the best, the lowest price or the best quality for everything that they were looking for. In some cases, didn't even sell that particular item. So they have a very detailed analysis that's broken down almost by item in terms of the vendors that submitted bids and then which ones they selected. The cover sheets give kind of an overall roll-up of the total bids that were provided by the various vendors, but then also a breakdown of the individual instruments and supply, storage items that they picked from each of those and the corresponding dollar amount that they would utilize to purchase those. I guess I'll pause there. Are there questions that have already jumped out at you already that you'd like me to address, or anything that you might be
One
wondering?
question that came to mind when I was looking at the whole list of items, and so, I mean, who would have guessed all the cost of all of this? But that being said, with buying new instruments, we have existing instruments. What happens to existing instruments that are they being kept? Are they being sold? Are they being recycled?
Yeah, that's a good question. So it varies. So at the middle school, they found that they're already have less instruments than they already need. If you've been to some of our band concerts this year, you'll see, and this is good, this is a great sign for the future, the middle school band numbers are enormous. And so they actually need more instruments. And so they're, for the most part, unless they have something that is kind of an end of life or they think they might want to get rid of, they can always sell that. But a lot of these at the middle school level are going to just supplement what they already have. For the high school, what they're going to do is anything that they don't need or want, they're going to push those excess instruments down to the middle school to, again, kind of plus up their numbers and then replace some of the items there. But they've also already identified a number of vendors that they could sell select pieces of equipment to if they had to. In some cases, the equipment they're buying are items that we don't have at all and have never had. So in that case, obviously, there's no need to get rid of anything because it'll be the first time we've had that piece of equipment. Another point I guess I'll bring up as far as instrument storage. So in the middle school band room in the back, you have those kind of built-in cubbies. And so the plan here is that all of those will come out. This will all need to be coordinated by Brandon. As you've already well know, you guys are extremely busy. So this will be one more thing for them to figure out this summer, because while the installation is covered in the bid, our team will have to demo it, and all that's going to have to be done at the right time, because the flooring is also coming out as part of the flooring project that was already approved via the bond for this summer at the middle school. So a lot of coordination on his end, even though the install cost and the actual new storage items are supported through this proposal. Did that answer your question as far as what we're looking to do? So.
And I did happen to, I saw Lynn over break and was like, holy cow, what are we, like, why are we, and I don't know, I'm trying to figure out what line thing I had looked at to ask her about, or just was, we were talking and she was like, oh, well, we don't have that, we have a blah, 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 tenor bass, and that's a, I don't know, what's another, like, that's a, I don't know, I can't think of, some high note, da-da-da thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm good, okay. So, it will be nice to see some fancy new equipment that they get to bring out, so.
I think it speaks again to the, we brought it up already today, but the generosity of the community and the fact that things like this, you can, because now as you see what the costs look like to support the band program,
Yeah.
this can really only be done through a bond. I mean, we don't have these funds. And so one of the reasons it was so important to put this on the ballot as part of the overall bond, and then also part of our ongoing appreciation to the community to supporting the band program and making sure kids have these resources.
And these instruments, taken care of well, will last generations. I mean, they have already.
Get us to the next bond at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No, they should last a long time.
yeah. How exciting for that program. Any other questions? That was a lot of work, so please let Lynn and Katie know that we appreciate all that they did to bring that to us. All right. Policy committee recommendations, Dave.
So the details will be in your board packets, but we have quite a few policies to remove. Some of these have been rewritten. There are a couple that are redundant or are in manuals instead. As I pointed out, the revised policy is the textbook adoption and instructional resources, and the additions are basically redos of some of the ones that we're removing.
Any questions? Okay. No, yes, go ahead.
No, I just would like to say I do appreciate adding on that section and then talking about use of, I think this was on before, the use of textbooks, so resource and tool, classroom storage, blah, 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 blah. So I appreciate making those changes. And I know that this has gone back and forth, so I do appreciate it, and I do like the new additions that were added, so thank you.
We finally got it.
You did, and I appreciate it.
So not to be a downer on this one, but
Oh,
as we've been,
Ding, 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 ding.
For what?
Goes back.
No, I just thought it was interesting. We've been looking at, as David explained at the beginning, at AI and staff policy around AI. And I've been trying to figure out where is best to place those kind of general guidelines that the policy committee alluded to, and maybe some exemplars that we found from some other districts. And this policy is kind of the front runner right now because it kind of makes sense in terms of what it's trying to address. So, so you might end up seeing it again, but on a different
As a
set of
reference.
items.
Adding some things to it.
Yeah, so I mean, not a guarantee because I'm still working on it, but I was just kind of chuckling to myself when I pulled it up and I was like, this is probably where it's going to go, at least right now. So
Yeah, that's.
might be back in front of you here in the not too distant
But
future.
I think, I know Sarah and I have had this conversation about AI, like colleges are I don't know if struggling's the right word. I know Erin, I shared Erin is doing a PhD at U of M, and they're teaching, and they've had to say to kids, I mean, U of M, and I guess maybe Chris, you could speak to this more, but like some professors, that is considered cheating. It's their ethics thing or whatever. But Erin also has to point out to them that AI is not foolproof. Like, you're going to AI and putting these questions in, and it's wrong. So it is interesting. I get colleges are dealing with this, and I'm sure we're gonna be dealing with it very soon also.
We discussed that at the policy
Yeah.
meeting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like,
I have to have a policy in my, like, I have to have the policy that our department has within my syllabus.
Yep,
And
I do too.
it's challenging because it's such a useful tool on one end, but like you're saying, like, it's not always accurate, and you have to be able to defend and know what is right or wrong.
right, Erin, yeah, I was there, I got to sit in on one of her classes where she was giving them a nice, like, hey, like, I graded your tests, and if you would have just, like, read the question yourself, you would have gotten a point to answer, but because you put it in ChatGPT, it's all completely wrong. Like, this isn't correct, so you do need to be careful. But also, it's considered cheating at U of M. You can't do it, so,
Yeah, it walks a fine line of plagiarism.
yeah, it is interesting.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm
We
sure.
have- Yeah, well, I'm sure the policy committee will have more
Yeah.
discussions around that.
Oh,
All right,
goodness.
action items. May I please have a motion for the consent calendar?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Board of Education approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on December 8th, 2025 as presented.
Second.
Motion by Chris, second by Deb. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do not have any roll call vote items. So separate action items. Can I get a motion for approval of the probationary status change?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education increase probationary status for Grace Scott from year 1 to year 2. This change will be effective on the anniversary of her hire date.
Second.
Motion by Dave, second by Heather. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Review of board goals, and we did have some correspondence, which I'm sure Adam would like to speak about.
Yeah, three significant retirements were announced over the last month, and which they all are, but just three great individuals. Tom Kirby is one of our evening custodians at the high school. He's just one of the people that are probably will never get or never had FaceTime with the board, but goes above and beyond to do his job in a very detail-oriented, dependable way. Stickler for detail, as I think the administrators, I know for sure, would tell you, at that work over at the high school, and just a really solid member of our team for a number of years. And so wish Tom well in retirement, and it's big shoes to fill there. Brent Tingley, in addition to being my neighbor, has been just an outstanding member of our maintenance team. He does the work of, I joke all the time, like 6 people. He's also one of our substitute bus drivers. Just an awesome person, individual. Just the amount of contributions he's made would be hard to summarize. I mean, just over and over again, going way above and beyond. I mean, just a quick story, like this summer, they pulled all the old cabinets out of the preschool, and were showing up to install the new ones. When they pulled the old ones out, they realized there was nothing behind them. So like those old lockers in the preschool, that was all that was on the other side. So, you know, he went in and framed out all those empty cabinet spaces so that the installers could come in and put in the new cabinets, because that wasn't part of the bid. I mean, just like that, but multiply that times 1,000. And again, just one of those folks that would never be up here giving a presentation, but is one of the reasons that our district continued to be so successful. The good news is he's offered to come back and help us out later this spring and summer on a part-time basis, so we'll still be seeing him around.
What about a bus driver? Is he gonna come back as a bus driver?
Yeah,
for
he's
us?
going to do a little sub-driving for us and a little sub-maintenance work, so we'll just have a flexible schedule, and, you know, I told him I'd keep an eye on his house.
Yeah,
That's
never
changed,
really
but, yeah, but, so it'll be good that we get to see him continue on here. And then Deb LaFleur, which I know all our board members are aware, just a phenomenal educator who's been in this district a very long time. Started off as an English teacher, was highly regarded throughout the district for a long time. Even as a young teacher, she was always pointed out as the gold standard for instructional excellence, and just another one of these people that are retiring that I spent a lot of years looking up to. Moved on to be instructional coach for a long time and did a phenomenal job with that, and then chose to convert to the dark side and become an administrator, as a few of us have had. decided to do for different reasons, and started off as the assistant principal at the high school. And then as we were joking about last week, I called her one day and I said, I need you at the middle school, like tomorrow. And for emergency reasons that we won't get into. But started her middle school principal tenure with 0 hours notice, and has continued on for about the last 5 years, and just done a first-class job, including having the middle school rated as the top middle school in Michigan during her tenure. More so, she has great relationships with staff, parents, and students. Has really done some things, great things in terms of standardizing policy and protocol, and has always kept her eye on instruction and how that impacts student learning and student success. And so having an outstanding instructional leader as your building principal is not always something that you find everywhere, and that'll be hard to replace. So she's earned it. We're going to miss her, and but definitely wish Deb well as she moves on to this next chapter.
All right, I don't see any other citizens that would like to address the board, so we can move on to board member reports and requests.
I have one. I attended the civics. I wasn't able to go to the actual civics fair, but I attended the couple days that they had for students to come and ask questions and talk, which I would like to just personally input in our minutes to commend those two teachers, kind of one selfishly for making that switch, because the amount of emails that you get is huge. And then within each email is like 50 questions, and it just takes a significant amount of time to answer. So doing it this way was much easier, and to get to know some of those kids, and it just, the thought that they put into things was pretty genuine. One group brought up allowing our high school students to get into high school events, games and stuff for free. I had talked to Paige about this, and Paige kind of said it really wouldn't move the needle either way. Most of those students, he did some looking into this, and he said most of those students are on family plans, like they don't buy just an individual students. He broke out some numbers and stuff, but it does seem maybe worth, I guess my request would be looking into this. It does seem to be worth something to consider allowing, like possibly allowing middle school students to get into middle school basketball, volleyball, whatever their event is for free. They would have to have their ID with them. A person who's taking tickets, Paige said, that would be my bigger concern. It's not like I'm losing millions out of my budget, but it would be a concern, like that person taking tickets wouldn't be able to distinguish between a middle schooler or a high schooler. And we have set some pretty stringent rules on students going to events and just being dropped off. So I would say middle school can get into their, well, I guess I'm not gonna open the door to middle school. That might have some other pieces to it. But high school, if they have their student ID, that they don't have to pay to get in, they can just, but they have to have their ID to show, or they would have to pay. If maybe that would be something we could consider. I don't know if it would do anything. I don't know if we'd get more students to come. I don't know if it would open some type of can of worms. I don't know if it would make a difference, with people buying their family passes or whatever. Paige originally didn't think it would really move the needle either way, which then is making me think maybe that is something we could consider for them.
Adam will look into it.
What?
Adam will look into it.
Yeah. I thought it was a good idea. I mean, some of the other things we couldn't, the one thing that comes up every year that I hear, and these kids came and talked to me. Adam couldn't be there at this time. I don't know if they met, but they would like us to move back the high school time to start later, right? Start later so they can get to the Wilson Talent Center, because they're coming in late. And These kids were pretty worked up and pretty passionate about that. I told them to take that passion, all of that, and they were like, well, we're mad, and we wanna talk with him, and, I mean, we'll be respectful when we talk to him, and I'm like, you can be respectful, but show him your passion, he'll love to see that. We're not gonna change the time, but you go ahead and do that, and so, I mean, some of them were really passionate about what they were feeling or seeing, and there are a lot of things that we just couldn't change, but this one seems like one we might be able to look into or see, so.
Adam, something that had come up, and I think you're aware of it, but we had identified, or there had been an identification that when we were talking about Ferris's class, not counting toward the 10 earlier, that as a part of the 10 classes that we support, that the ISD had notified the district that a student cannot take more than 3 classes at a time. And there is nothing in our handbook and nothing that has been, no education has gone out to parents to inform students. The reasoning behind it was that they were told at the time was that they wanted students to start dual enrollment in freshman year, which, I'll be blunt, I think is ridiculous.
Wait, say that again?
So the ISD, and I'll just say, my daughter was planning to take 4 classes this term at LCC.
Yep,
She was told, or we were told initially, that
you can only
the
take
ISD
3.
told our district that you can only take 3 classes. You cannot take more than that, even if you haven't maxed out on the 10. And the reasoning was that, well, your student should have started in freshman year to be able to get all 10 in, which is not in our handbook.
Right,
There's
was
no
that an
education.
option for her as a freshman? I mean,
I don't think it's
like-
an option for many freshmen.
It is.
It is, but I mean, but it's not something that,
very few that.
Well, I feel like it's not, I mean, I feel like it's not publicized.
Correct.
It's not talked about, it's not made
well,
as an option.
in our schools, didn't even realize that was a policy. So if it is truly a policy, either one, we need to, if we don't
Put it
agree
in
with the
writing.
policy, we need to fight the policy, in my opinion. Or 2, we need to have a better education to our parents to make sure that it is out there.
But I guess my
The
que-
8th graders are gonna be signing up for classes.
Correct.
Right now, there's
Yeah, I
conversations.
think to kind of summarize this, because I know it's not a discussion
Oh,
item
no,
for
I'm
tonight.
sorry, you're good.
It's not, but-
Just to quickly point out, that's kind of what the policy committee is doing.
Yeah.
We have found the last couple of years, in particular at the high school, that the ISD has unexpectedly started to enforce some rules that they've never enforced before, if you could even want to call them rules. And they got us last year with guided study, and this year their thing was on this dual enrollment stuff. So
Well-
we've been doing these for many, many years in different ways and not having an issue. And now when they start to kind of clamp down on some of these, so what we're trying to do is, kind of like what you said, I don't say we're fighting it, but we're looking for loopholes, we're looking for other options and opportunities that we can give students by asking tough questions in response to what we're learning from our auditors around this. And that's what I think will kind of get fleshed out in
Yeah,
policy.
and I'm not trying to make a discussion. All I was trying to say is, we just
Right.
need to, I think we need to have clarity, we need to be able to educate no matter where we fall on this, so that parents are aware and students are aware, so that they can plan ahead of time.
You're asking Dave to put that on as a
Whoever.
agenda item to.
Well, I guess I
And I
would
want,
have a
and
question.
I want the board to know that this is something that's rumbling underneath the surface.
Right,
so.
or when did because there used to be, and I don't know the year, but there used to be where we had the LCC where kids could, was it called early college? Where they could apply
Yeah.
and like we could only send like 2 or 3 kids.
Early college shut down.
Right, when was that?
Like, it was was either during COVID or after COVID.
But I
Is-
thought
Yeah,
that
it was
because of the
enforced
early
by the
college is
county.
where we got kids could do that, so
Yeah,
that's what I
that
was
I don't know.
asking.
But I do know that they had shut it down, and they had talked about bringing it back, but I haven't heard anything more.
So I guess, Adam, that would be a question,
Yeah, that got,
is that, did our students get the 10 credits, where that came from? Was that around the early college?
no.
So if
10
we
10
had seen,
classes,
It's
10
around,
classes.
it's around dual enrollment specifically.
so if we had seniors right now, would they have been able to take LCC classes as a freshman?
You can take one.
But when did that go into effect? I guess that's my question.
It's
That-
spelled out in a rather obscure MDE document that kind of dictates policy around dual enrollment. The ISD is responsible for enforcing that with local districts. What they pick and choose to enforce, or when things change, often we find out 6 months after the fact, which is what happened with guided study last year. So it changed over the summer. We found out in December when they did their audit, 5 months into the school year. So it's, I don't know, it's complicated, but I think the fact that it was already proactively identified and brought to policy last month kind of indicates like we're tracking it. I think the harder part will be kind of figuring out where do we want to go with some of these, because there's pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages depending on the options that you decide to go with, and that's part of the struggle that I think the committee saw when it was discussed last month with Dr. Delp and I.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was more discussion than I had meant to bring forward.
More to,
But
more
we
to
do have a
follow.
right to ask questions
Yeah.
if you bringing
Yeah.
something up,
Yep.
so.
And a takeaway for you is that there are discussions being had.
Yeah, we were in the same situation, so it definitely happens.
So look for further full board discussion around this. Anything else? Well, we are around this weekend, big wrestling stuff happening at the high school. The 63rd, is that what it is? Gym practice is happening on Saturday.
I do have a question. So, a community member asked me this question, and I didn't have the answer, Adam, so this is one final thing. When we have these big tournaments, and there is a booster group that is taking money at the door, who does that money go to?
So I can go back and correct myself if I find out that I'm wrong on this, but basically booster groups have an opportunity to run a fundraiser event during the school year. The district supports that, but the purpose of that event is for the boosters to benefit from that event, that activity. So-
And they're getting charged for the use of the facilities, so part of what they raise would then?
No, not really, because under our board policy, that would be youth sports, which
Mm.
would waive the cost other than custodial, which
Well,
would have
but
been
that's
there
what I mean, the
anyway.
custodial piece
Yeah, so-
would still be charged.
Yeah, if they weren't already gonna be there, but,
Okay.
you know, that's not gonna
Okay.
make or break their event. So like examples would be like the Mitch Lutsky track meet in the spring, the girls' basketball team just did, I can't remember what it was called, I was gone, but like the Winter Invitational, they had like 6, 7, 8 high school teams that played in like a 2-day event there. So that's kind of,
Is that the same for youth sport tournaments too?
well, youth sports falls under, outside of our
So
jurisdiction.
they get charged, they would get charged for the
Yeah.
use,
Yeah, I mean, we gotta pay $12 every time we go to over at Cedar.
So
Yeah.
Sunday,
Third grade
like,
basketball
for
game on the
Sunday is
weekends,
like the
but-
Mini Mooney Classic and, yeah, thanks for
But
But
that
we
money is
charge-
going to to that booster group, okay.
But we
Same with
do,
like concessions, you know, that's typically a booster supported.
but if one of our, like whether it's basketball, wrestling, swimming, if they have some type of event like this, even if it is a fundraiser, we do still charge them, they do get a bill from school for like custodian fee, whatever it is, correct? They're responsible for paying, maybe not the facility,
Yeah.
like we charge others, but they'll get a bill for something.
If custodians are already there, just like any other
Event,
event,
right.
yeah, they would pay for custodial costs. And then found out today in a separate conversation that, you know, the district picks up the tab for officials for one of those events throughout the year, which seems fair to me, so. Anyway, not an expert on this, but that's my
Okay.
understanding
you.
at this point.
Well, if you're around, there's wrestling happening Saturday
it's an interesting event. They're fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're fun.
I'll be
but-
there. I'll be there Sunday, or Saturday. All right, anything else?
Not wrestling.
I'm not wrestling, no, I'll be there as a spectator.
She'll be coaching on the sideline, yelling at them.
You never know, I could jump.
I don't know what they are.
Anyway, we've gone too far on the rails now. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Or, sorry, Heather, second. First by Chris, second by Heather. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you all very much.